little, God was calling me already. So I turned my head again back to the 1 o'clock to where I'm looking, and the next shot I heard ripped through my throat. So I'm on the ground, my life's pouring out, and I hear this: John, get up or your wife is gonna die. It was easier to stay on the ground rather than get up and be resilient. I hear it again: John, get up or your wife is gonna die. You and I, we were both shot April 2nd of 2014 at Fort Hood.
Straight out of a movie. It's terrifying. Like, this guy wanted to kill me, and whoever, you know what I mean. And I couldn't wrap my head around it. It's like, I didn't do anything to you. We're wearing the same uniform with the same American flag on the right shoulder.
I took her hand, like I held her hand, and with both of my hands and cupped her hand, and just looked at her and said, "Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do." But it was powerful. I mean, God is real, absolutely real.
And, I'm squirming in my seat as you're saying all this. So go ahead. Yeah,
I'm not fibbing whatsoever.
Well, friends, welcome back to another episode of Life Transformed Podcast. We are now on segment 2. I'm speaking with Colonel Patrick Miller. We're talking about the events that happened on April 2nd, 2014 at Fort Hood Military Base, where 19 of us were shot. You heard on the last segment 1, where Colonel Miller talked about what happened at Fort Hood, how he was shot in the abdomen. But sir, you're back with me again, and you were shot in the stomach. I was shot in the neck. So I took for people that don't know, I took a .45 caliber through my throat that, just like Colonel Miller, both wounds should have been instant death. I mean, I don't think many people take 45s through their throat. I don't think people take 45s through their stomach like the way he did through his trunk, because there's a lot of vital organs. There's a lot of things that could happen and actually survive. But miraculously, we did. As you heard in segment 1, there was a lot of divine intervention that we believe. Well, I know, I don't believe it. I know it. The divine intervention that was happening. But sir, talk to us about recovery. What did recovery look like for you? How long were you in the hospital? I heard you went and did like a half marathon or a marathon not long after that. Like, crazy. I thought I was the Green Beret. Here's the other thing about recovery that I don't know if you experienced this, and I would ask you to talk about this. I remember laying in the bed and telling my commander, or trying to tell my commander, which I was like you, I did a lot of writing. And I also lost the use of my right arm, which is my dominant arm. So no one could figure out what the heck I was saying at all. But I remember telling my commander, I'll be back to work in 3 weeks, because this hadn't caught up with this. And so, sir, take us into recovery. What was it like recovering?
It was so ultimately it was ended up having 3 major surgeries. Spent 2 weeks, like 16 days in the ICU. Ended up getting pneumonia. Had some infections because, again, the bullet went through my colon, right? So it probably wasn't the cleanest thing, and they kept it in there originally. So I kept spiking with fevers and infections, and they didn't know why. Until finally, the surgeon, Sean Brown, who I still talk to this day, great friend, who just got picked up for command at the ISR at BAMC, or at San Antonio there.
Oh, that's cool.
JBSA, yeah. So he was like, you know what, let's take this thing out. And I was like, okay. So rolled over, some lidocaine, scalpel, and within like 2 minutes, he's like, got it. I'm like, okay. And sure enough, after that, stitched me up and fevers went down, and we were okay. But yeah, so those 2 weeks in the ICU, again, that was tough, right? Physically, emotionally, like I was out of it for the first 72 hours, 96 hours, just groggy, in and out of, sleeping, just a lot of meds. And finally, the nurse Mary, who PCS to launch to. I don't know her last name, but I remember her face, and I remember how motivating she was because she made my behind get out of bed and start moving, even though I didn't want to, and it hurt. And don't matter, grab the wheelchair. We're gonna take 10 steps today. We're gonna take 20 steps tomorrow. We're gonna walk around the hallway the next day. And again, having family, not just my wife, but parents, in-laws, brother, sister, friends, everybody kind of flew in for a support system. Had Sergeant First Class Carmona next door who was wounded. He was part of the First Med Brigade as well. So him and I were, racing laps in the hospital at one point. But yeah, so that was tough. Those first 2 weeks, when I finally got to go home, had a hard time psychologically, mentally, I guess. Just going back home, being very hyper vigilant, as I'm sure you and I both
Right.
are still,
Oh,
right,
yeah.
to this day. Every time I go in a room, first thing I do is look for the exits. The second thing I do is scan the room, look who's in it, check everybody's hands, right? Because I promise I'll never get caught flat-footed again, especially in uniform, right? People in uniform every day at work. I look at people's hands, just, look possible weapons, play scenarios in my head just because in case something happens. And it, peace of mind takes 5 seconds. Nobody knows. But yeah, so the recovery was a little hard at first being back home. I was on like Percocet, a lot of painkillers, like a lot. Had the ileostomy bag, which was, very humbling as well. So it was adjustment, like I said, lost 25, 30 pounds. But I would walk. And when, you and I are athletes who work out 6 days a week, lift, do all this stuff, but like, I wasn't very strong, but I knew I had to gain my strength back. I had to gain after pneumonia and everything else, I had to gain my aerobic back. So I'd walk, longer, day by day, week by week, go back, had my wound vac, replaced, and finally had the ileostomy takedown 7 weeks later, 8 weeks later, where they, reconnected everything. And I didn't have the bag anymore. Everything worked. And we were able to PCS at the end of June to Fort Leavenworth, to Kansas, where I was going to go to CGSC and take that year to Command and General Staff College, take that year of school to recover, both physically and mentally. And it was during that time where I gradually increased the intensity of my workouts, got back to normal, gained my weight back, gained my strength back 6 months after the shooting in October of 2014. As you alluded to, ran the Kansas City half marathon. And again, that was special to me. It was a milestone, right? It was a mark on the wall. It was a tangible win. And I was like, all right, man, like, we're not done. Like, we're going to keep going. Like, let's do this. Like, it's about perspective, right? Like, a lot of our brothers and sisters, that deploy, that have had close calls, that have been away from family, like, we appreciate this country. We appreciate the freedoms of this country, the people in our lives. We appreciate love, right? Don't take things for granted. Smell the grass and enjoy appreciate everything and everyone. And after what you and I went through, like, I mean, you can amplify that times 1,000. Just grateful. And so I was like, I'm not, no wasted movement, no wasted days, no bad days. Like, we all have bad days, right? But like in the grand scheme of it, I don't really get mad about anything anymore. I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan, so if my Bills lose, I tend to get a little emotional about that. But we're okay. And we after Leavenworth, PCS to Hawaii, out there where we had our first child, our daughter, and ran a couple of 3 marathons out there in Honolulu, and again continued to max my PT test and then back in the fight, right? And use that not just to motivate us and in our immediate circle, but using that as a tool, our story, the recovery, to inspire and motivate others, other soldiers, other organizations, teams, people, society, right? Like, we're all brothers and sisters, right? We all got to find a way to make it together. And if our stories, and I'm speaking for both of us, right, if they can inspire other people who's having a bad day, who thinks that they might not be able to make it, to think that they've had the worst day of their life and they're never going to recover, like, gang, if we can do it, you can do it. Like, look where we were, you know what I mean? So
yeah, sir, something you say often, I've heard you say this from the beginning, and I didn't mean to, I just wanted to jump in because it's a thought that I didn't want to lose it.
Yeah.
I know you, I've heard you say several times in some of your interviews that you think about the three men, because there were actually three that died that day.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, I think, before we actually started recording, but you know, one of the ways that I think that we honor these men that didn't make it home that day, you know, because it was a typical day for most of us, right? We were just at work on base. Yeah, like my wife was expecting me home. She was already making dinner. Like that, you know, it was just like a normal day. But there were three men that didn't make it home that day. And, you know, as you talk about your recoveries, you talk about going and living that resilience, right? Because that's a big thing in the military. That's a big topic that we share. You know, there's a lot of resilience training, but you've lived resilience, sir. I've lived resilience. We did something with it. And I believe that the way we honor those who didn't make it that day is that we didn't turn around and take our life and finish off what Specialist Ivan Lopez tried to do to us, right? So we didn't take the 45 and eat it one day and finish his job for him. What we did is we were given a second chance. You were given a second chance. I was given a second chance, and you did something with it. You didn't end up in some padded hospital room, beat down, broken, chewing on your hand, drooling on mashed potatoes. What you did is you actually got up. Actually, when I was on the ground dying, I heard get up. And sir, you got up. And because you've gotten up and you've done something, I've done something with my life. You've done something in your recovery. Like, we're honoring these men. So, you know, like we wake up, we love our families. It's the fact that we wake up next to our spouses is a gift. The fact that you got to stay in the military, I did too until, 20 years. I did 20 years, is a gift. And so you've recognized the gift and you used it. And I believe, sir, that is how we honor these guys. We're honoring them because, man, we're doing something with the gift that God could do whatever he wants, but we chose to take what he did for us and do something with it, and to make other lives better, and to show people, dude, you can go through some stuff, right? You can go through stuff and actually get up and still have quality of life and make it. And so I just want to tell you, man, that is so awesome. And you went from a major to a full bird colonel today. You could have easily gotten out. I mean, did they offer you to get out?
So here's a funny, quick story. It was during the ICU, and one of the visitors that came, it might have been one of our teammates there with the First Med Brigade. We were talking, or chaplain or something, and it was towards the end. I was feeling better, and they were like, "So, sir, you're gonna get out, right? Like, you're gonna medically retire, or whatever." And when he said that, and I can't believe I don't remember who it was, but I remember the conversation. And when he said that, I immediately was like, huh? Like, that was the first time that even like crossed my mind. Like, absolutely not. Like, no, like we're gonna do this. Like, no, like I'm not getting out. And so that's, again, this is, this whole Army thing. It's all I've known. It's all I've done, since I was, 18, 19 years old. And I love it. I love to serve. Again, as former athletes, like, I compare the Army to one big sports team, right? We're all trying to, get to the same place.
Military athletes.
Yeah, we're all on the same team, and help each other when we're down, and leverage each other's strengths, and and like help each other's weaknesses, or develop people and build them up, and there's an art to leadership, right? Like, not to go down that road, but like, I love that. I love the emotional intelligence, the psychology of leadership, of helping your fellow brother or sister. And it's all, I guess you can throw that into the recovery, because that helps still serving in whatever capacity, definitely help during the recovery. And you mentioned being a colonel now. I think that's where these gray hairs are coming from. That it's definitely added to that. So, but no, it's a blessing and an honor.
Yeah, when I woke up in the hospital, my room at Scott and White was lined up with my best friends from the military. They came from all over. Like, they drove in, they flew in. Yeah. My mom. I mean, did you have that too? I mean, When you woke up in the hospital, what did you see, or who was there for you?
Yeah, immediately, because I mean, I guess when I woke up, I was still like, so I was in between surgeries, and had Ashley, but like I said, after that 72, 96 hour mark, that's when yeah, the in-laws were there, and brother and sister, best friend from high school, people came down from all over the place, immediate family, some friends that were local, my good friend Rashad, Sansani, again, all came in, and it was just, what hurt me the most. And again, I love having this conversation with you because I'm sharing things that I don't really talk about publicly. But what what was hard for me was seeing all of the people we care about and love worry about us and like cry over us.
Yeah.
Like we are we
We're the
will protect
police.
you.
We're the
Yeah,
ones that
like
help
don't
everybody.
worry about me. Like I got you. Like relax. Like we'll be okay. Like don't worry about us. But to see people, and again, it goes from outside extended family to people in the community, in the military, back home, whatever. Like the flowers, the cards, the letters, the emails. It's nice and forever grateful. But it's like I don't want you to worry about me. Like we're here to take care. Like we're here to take care of you. Like, don't worry about me. We'll be all right. Don't
Yeah.
get sad
Yeah.
over us. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're paradigm.
That, as I mentioned in the last segment, I had become a general's aide, and
Yeah,
I thought it was about me. And, it was a very humbling thing during that time for me, but it was a time that I learned to serve, others. Right. And that's what we do. As a Green Beret, it was always about me. It was always about, like, we're the police of the world. We're the ones that are on the front lines, going and rescuing and raising and doing everything that needs to happen. We're the ones on the front lines. Like, if if you hear about it on the news, we've already been behind enemy lines for 6 months, on the ground doing it. And so the fact that I had to let people help me, sir, that was a big deal. That was hard for me. I mean, that was a big ego pop that needed to happen for this guy, letting people help me, and then realizing that, dude, it's not about you. Like, you have to let people help you. People love you. And maybe this is a good segue right here too, um, for people to understand, you're not the only one going through trauma that day.
right.
Your family walks through the fire with you. You're not alone. So, I mean, you don't ever do anything alone. You were married. You had your mom. I think I end up,
Yeah,
having a conversation with your mom.
parents love
Your
you to
family
this
reached
day.
out to me, I think, and,
Yep, yep,
and my family, again, when I woke up, my bed was lined with all of my best friends, but my wife went into shock that day. There were things that happened that people don't know, that my wife is like a lot like your wife. She's not just open. She doesn't just go out telling people. If you ask me, I'll answer your question, but I'm
yeah,
just not open to tell you. But wow. And for me, my wife had lost both her parents just 6 months before I was shot, 9 days apart. I mean,
mm,
when I was shot, or when we were shot, I mean, our whole world was flipped upside down. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we have to take it into account that our family's resilience matters as well. Things that we go through, it affects them. And so your wife, like my wife, had to go to get counseling as well. So, like, we had to figure out what life was going to be like. What did that look like for you, sir? When you started getting, I don't know, I'm sure you saw every mental health counselor
yeah.
because of the situation, but did your wife have to go through counseling on her own and then together? What did that look like, if you're willing to share?
Yeah, no, good. I appreciate the question. I'm glad you brought it up. I think it's brilliant. Because again, it's not just about us, and there's a whole another side to the story, right? There's the one that we tell and people know about, but then our family, they have their own experiences. They're hurting as well. They have, because these are, I call them pivot points in life, right? There's pivot points. There's a before and an after, and it's pretty clear. It's a clear delineation. I mean, it's before after you have a child, before after you lose a parent, before after April 2nd, 2014, clear delineation.
Right.
So that was a huge pivot point for I know my family, just my wife, because she doesn't like the attention, and again, the attention that we were getting the following months
People were showing up
afterwards.
at our bedsides from
Yeah,
DC,
yeah,
president, right?
yep,
I
everyone.
mean, it was a big deal. Went all the way up to the top.
Yeah. So it was, again, it's humbling. You do what you can, and you remember, like, okay, you want to give back, and you want to be, this superhero. But again, like you said, it's not always about you. It's not about us. Like, how is our family? Like, how are they receiving this? Like, do they want this? Like, what's the best way for them to heal? What's the best way for them to get through, carry on with life and get back to a routine and get past the mental trauma of what happened with you and I. And so we stayed this military journey. We started a family, having our daughter Harper in Hawaii, and everything revolved around that. I mean, once you have a
Mhm.
kid, that's your world, and that became the focus. And I don't know. I can be an emotional baby, right? Like in movies and around kids, and a big softie. But yeah, I'll tell you what. Part of that healing was starting a family, having those kids, and that's the center of our universe.
One thing I want to share as well, some of the PTS, because it was a traumatic event for everyone involved. I remember, sir, that my wife, like, after I finally got into recovery, I was able to drive myself to recovery. They moved me to Brooke Army Medical Center, the Center for the Intrepid. That's where I was getting all my surgeries. They moved me to that campus. And I remember, if I wasn't home when I told my wife I was going to be home, she was
Yeah.
calling me, texting me, like she needed to hear from me at that moment that I said I was going to be home, because she was triggered.
hmm
Like, my wife had to walk through a healing process mentally and emotionally, because she had just lost both her parents 6 months before. Then I'm shot. Like, her whole world was shaken. And trauma does things to people, and we know that, mentally, emotionally, and then for you and I, physically. But you have to figure out who you are during the recovery, and then you have to figure out who you are as an individual. You have to figure out how it changed your family, you and your family. You have to figure out how it changed your career. And we had counseling, and I'm so appreciative for Army Medicine. Again, they put me in the hands of the right counselors. Like, I had chaplains and counselors, and I had to really, really open myself up and tell them the truth, sir, because we can go in there and we can be machismo, right? We can be the tough guys, and the guys that are running the half marathons 6 weeks later, or whatever, 6 months
Right.
later, we can do all that. But we really have to be honest with those around us and tell them the truth. And so I went into my counselors, told them the truth. Then my wife started seeing mental health and getting healed and working through that. And then we had to go together. That was our process. And I don't know if, and we'll conclude with that, sir. Like, did you and your wife go see the same counselor? Like, and the other thing I want to tell our listeners, it's okay. It's okay to go get help. It's okay to let people help you. I don't take any medicine today because I don't need it, because I've been healed. You can actually be healed. But I saw the counselors and I took the medicine. My wife took medicine as we were working towards our healing. And so, sir, let's conclude by, what'd that look like for you?
Yeah, no, again, love that you're bringing this up, because, yeah, we definitely saw, counselors, therapists together. We saw them individually, and and 11 years later, we still do to this day. And
Yeah.
that's okay. Like you said, I know in the military, and you know this too, in the Army and the military, there's a stigma about behavioral health, that it makes you weak, that your chain of command or your leadership are going to find out, and it's going to deny you opportunities to go to school or to lead or to do something. No, and we're still trying to get over that stigma, years later. And again, I tell folks all the time, and you've alluded to it too. Our Army medicine saved our life, right?
Yeah.
I'll forever be indebted to the patch that I wear, and then the team that I serve with. And I love Army medicine, the care they provided for us, especially with the behavioral health, with the mental health, to this day and even afterwards. So it's incredible. It's something that everybody should not be afraid to do, because we all have our story, we all have our experiences, we all been through stuff. And part of saying you're not alone is being able to seek help, and being able to get that.
As we conclude, I just want to say this: for me, one of the big pieces also was the faith-based piece. So I used the medical professions and everybody, they're the people that God put me in their hands. Man, they were open because to my faith, right? So they were just like, "Hey man, you do you, brother. Like whatever's going to help you get through. This is a place where you could feel safe." And man, prayer was a big piece, and having the community, the faith community, is how, sir, it's just how I made it. And obviously, as you said earlier too, with your wife, getting after it, just leaning in her faith, and I know that faith in prayer was a big part of why we're both here right now. And so, sir, we're going to conclude right here. We're going to come back, and I want to talk to you. The next session just going to be a brief one, and I want to talk about how you're using what you're doing with your resilience. What are you doing with what happened and how you're helping people? Because I heard that you put on this big Wounded Warrior benefit, and we want to hear about everything you're doing. All right, friends. Well, you just heard from Colonel Miller, and again, he was telling us about how he recovered, what happened, what recovery looked like, how it affected him, how it affected his family. We talked about the resilience aspect and in getting up. We have to get up. It's so important that you get up, and I'm sure the Colonel Miller could say the same thing. The hardest day wasn't the day I was shot. It was 6 months later, trying to figure out whether I was still the man mentally, emotionally, and physically that I was the day before I was shot. And I still was. And it just takes that mental aspect. It just takes that knowing that there's a greater purpose for you. For me, it's my faith in Jesus Christ, knowing that I had a calling on my life, knowing that my family had as an assignment, and that is to get up and to go share hope and healing with the rest of the world. But there's a lot of people that are hurting and that are broken. So friends, thank you for joining us on this segment with Colonel Miller as we talked about what happened April 2nd of 2014. But stay tuned. We're going to have Colonel Miller on for a final segment as he tells us, what is he doing with his scars? How is he helping others with the experience that he went through? All right, stay tuned. We'll see you soon on another episode of Life Transform Podcast. We'll talk to you soon.
Another way we do that is through the Southern Tier Wounded Warrior Benefit Concert in Western New York. And
you do it big time, sir. I mean, you don't go small. It's this thing has gotten big.
Said we were saved for a reason, and to be able to do something with that, not just say the names of the fallen, like you said, but to be able to live our lives in a manner that would honor them, honor our Lord and Savior, honor our friends and family. Like I don't know any other way.
There's other active shooter events that happen, and yes, it gets our hair in the back of our neck standing up, but you've chose to get up, sir. And because you've chose to get up, other people are benefiting from what you're doing. And so I just want to say thanks so much. And we love you.